You open an app. You did not mean to compare yourself to anyone. You just wanted to check a notification. But 3 scrolls in, you are staring at someone else's vacation, someone else's body, someone else's promotion. And something in your chest tightens. You close the app. The feeling stays. Why does this keep happening? You assume this is a modern problem, a side effect of screens. But the real answer is far stranger. Comparing yourself to others is not a habit you picked up. It is a system installed in you long before phones, before mirrors, before language itself. Start with the feeling. That tightness, that quiet math your brain runs without asking permission. Better than them. Worse than them. Where do I stand? Why does your mind do this automatically, every single time? In 1954, psychologist Leon Festinger proposed something that reshaped how scientists understood the human mind. He called it social comparison theory. Festinger argued that people have a built-in drive to evaluate their own abilities and opinions. And when no objective measure exists, when there is no ruler, no scoreboard, no clear answer, people turn to other people instead. You do not just wonder if you are doing well. You wonder if you are doing well compared to someone else. That comparison is not optional. Festinger believed it was automatic, almost involuntary, running quietly in the background of nearly every social moment. But why would evolution build a mind that constantly measures itself against others? The answer starts deep in human prehistory, before farms, before cities, before anything you would recognize as civilization. Your ancestors lived in small bands, usually no more than a few dozen people, and inside those bands, one thing mattered more than almost anything else: position. Where did you stand? Who could you rely on? Who might compete with you for food, for a mate, for safety? Anthropologist Christopher Boehm spent years studying hunter-gatherer societies, and he found something surprising. Many of these groups were fiercely egalitarian. Not because hierarchy did not exist, but because early humans worked hard, constantly, to suppress it. Bragging was punished. Arrogance was mocked. Boehm describes this as a kind of reverse dominance hierarchy, where the group actively worked to keep any one person from rising too far above the rest. Which tells you something important. Status was not a minor social detail. It was dangerous enough and desirable enough that entire communities organized themselves around managing it. To survive inside a system like that, you needed constant awareness of where you stood. Not once a year, not once a month. Constantly. A person who misjudged their position, who overestimated their standing or underestimated a rival, could lose access to food, to alliances, to protection. So the brain developed a habit. A near-automatic scan, running quietly under the surface, comparing your resources, your strength, your reputation against the people around you. That scan never turned off. It could not turn off. It was too useful. And it is still running today. Only now, the people you are scanning are not 30 members of your hunting band. They are hundreds, sometimes thousands, curated, filtered, frozen in their best possible moment. In 2013, researcher Ethan Cross at the University of Michigan ran a study that revealed something unsettling about this ancient system meeting the modern world. Cross and his team tracked how people felt after using Facebook over a 2-week period. The result was clear. The more people used the platform, the worse their moment-to-moment mood became, and the lower their overall life satisfaction dropped over time. Not because anything bad had actually happened to them, but because their ancient comparison system was running constantly against an impossible sample of other people's highlight reels. Think about what that means. Your ancestors compared themselves to real people, in real time, with real context. If someone had a good hunt, you saw the whole story. The struggle before it, the luck involved, the help from others. Today, you see only the result. The vacation, the body, the promotion. Never the argument beforehand, the bad week, the years of quiet failure hidden just outside the frame. Your ancient comparison system was not built for that. It assumes what it sees is representative. It assumes the person across from you is a real, complete picture of another human life. But a feed is not a village. It is a highlight reel from thousands of people, stitched together to look like a single ordinary day. Your brain runs the same ancient calculation. Better than them. Worse than them. But now it is comparing your entire life against the curated best moments of nearly everyone you have ever met, and plenty of people you never actually will. This is where the danger begins. Not because comparison itself is broken, but because the input has changed while the machinery stayed exactly the same. Psychologists studying this shift point to something called upward social comparison, the tendency to measure yourself against people who appear better off. In small doses, upward comparison can be motivating. It can show you what is possible. But when it becomes constant, when every scroll delivers another curated win from another curated life, the same system that once helped your ancestors survive starts working against you instead. It stops asking where do I stand and starts insisting you are falling behind over and over, with no finish line in sight. But here is where the story bends. Understanding where this instinct comes from changes what you do with it. Festinger's original research also found something important. People do not just compare upward, they also compare downward, measuring themselves against those who are struggling more, which can restore a sense of stability. And they compare laterally, against people genuinely similar to them, which tends to be the most accurate and least distressing of all three. The ancient system was never built to run only one direction. It was built to be flexible, contextual, grounded in real relationships with real information attached. Modern platforms strip away that flexibility. They feed you an endless stream of upward comparison, disguised as ordinary life, stripped of context, optimized to be looked at rather than lived. Your ancient brain, doing exactly what it evolved to do, cannot always tell the difference. So the instinct itself is not the problem. Your ancestors needed this system to survive inside a group of 30 people who depended on each other completely. The problem is what happens when that ancient tool is pointed at a curated crowd of thousands instead of a real circle of people who actually know your whole story. Think back to that hunting band again. When someone in the group did well, the whole group usually benefited. A good hunter shared meat. A skilled tracker taught others. Status was not just personal, it was communal. Comparison existed inside relationships, not outside them. Today, you can compare yourself to someone you will never meet, whose success adds nothing to your life and whose failure would cost you nothing either. The comparison remains. The relationship is gone. And that gap between an ancient system built for connection and a modern feed built for attention is where the discomfort actually lives. So the next time that tightness creeps into your chest, the next time a feed leaves you feeling smaller than you were 5 minutes earlier, pause there. That feeling is not proof that you are behind. It is an ancient survival tool, reacting to information it was never designed to process. The instinct is not broken. The picture in front of you is incomplete. Because maybe the real problem was never that you compare yourself to others. Maybe the real problem is that you keep comparing your whole life to everyone else's single best moment and calling the result a fair measurement.